Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, remember that thing? I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is my other host. We couldn't hear you, whatever you just did.
Say Chris Mack. What's up, guys?
Yeah, whenever you rushed the camera and
That
you
was-
paid for it because we didn't hear your name.
Damn it. They never hear my name. It's okay.
Say my name. Say my name. Destiny's Child reference. That's not what we're talking about, though. We're actually talking about Sex and the City, watching it from start to finish. I have seen it like too many times, and Chris has seen it not at all, but like we said last week, almost one full turn of the DVD boxes, baby. It's almost there.
Not gonna lie, it's probably the only one time I ever watched this show. I mean, maybe years from now, maybe some nostalgia will come in, and maybe I'll want to watch it again. But I don't know.
You didn't watch it in like a formative time for you, so you don't necessarily like want to go back to it. It's not weird. It makes sense.
Yeah. That's fair. That's true. Cool.
So yes, that's our gimmick for the show. It's that I've seen it, he hasn't, and we talk about the episodes. So we are on season 6B.
6 Bizzle.
Episode 4, Out of the Frying Pan.
Yes. Into the fire.
I mean, I don't know. I guess not a ton happens in this episode, but I thought everything was interesting.
Yeah. There isn't a ton happening, but there is some heavy stuff going on.
Yes, so this is probably one of the heavier episodes overall.
I think so. Yeah, it was a lot of people going through a lot of transitions in this.
Through some shit.
Show. Yeah. Right now, this episode had a lot of transitions. So, you know what? We'll do something different. I'm gonna let you start us.
Oh, yeah. Well, before we started, you were like, "I don't have any notes." I was like, "You didn't write down anything?" And you're like, "I didn't mean that."
But before we get started, if you're still watching it right now, go ahead and like and subscribe, leave a comment. And make sure you turn your notifications on because that really helps with the algorithm. Turn your notifications on. If you're already subscribed and you don't have notifications turned on, turn them shits on right now.
I guess, I mean, Miranda's is like the least heavy, so maybe we start there.
Yeah, it was super cute. Well, I mean, it's heavy, but it was cuter. It was cute.
But it was like a nice, life change happening.
There was some, there was, I mean, I guess all the stories kind of had some brevity towards the end, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's give him.
Let's start with Miranda then.
No. You said my main.
No, Charlotte. I said Miranda.
You did say Miranda. All right, let's get it.
I'm gonna play the tape back.
Yeah. Rewind.
Miranda. Yes. So Miranda and Steve are in their it's like a 1-bedroom that she has. I guess maybe it was a 2-bedroom at most. Either way. They're like sleeping in their dining room. They're just cramped and crowded in there.
Yeah. Okay. So.
No, wait. It's a 1-bedroom.
I'm trying to figure that out honestly because I thought it was a 2-bedroom. I thought Brady had his own room and then Miranda had a room, and because the thing that's confused me when the episode first started. Excuse me. I thought her apartment was a lot bigger, and it seemed like this episode they deliberately made it small.
It was like suddenly cartoonishly way small.
Yeah, it was like suddenly it was a studio and not a full 2-bedroom apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah,
which to be fair, still probably small compared to most apartments around the world that are 2-bedroom. But you know, it didn't seem this cramped.
Yeah, but either way, it's cramped. So because they've got the baby, a good what I would define as a large dog.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those Burmese mountain dogs. This is a big dog.
Yeah.
And the cat and the two of them, and they're looking for real estate, and he finds what sounds like the perfect house for them, but it's in Brooklyn. And she's like, no, absolutely not. I don't want to live in Brooklyn because it's too far from Manhattan. It's not Manhattan.
I mean, okay, to be fair, Brooklyn and Manhattan are different. It's quite a trek. It's quite a trek, honestly. You know what I mean? Especially think about these girls, you know what I'm saying? They don't even take the subway. So,
right.
You know, they're trying to take cabs to Brooklyn, and most people, most cab drivers who drive around Manhattan don't want to go to Brooklyn, as we see in this episode.
Yeah.
And even on the train, depending on what time of day, it's about 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes to get to Manhattan, depending on which part of Manhattan you're getting to and how far you're and like what time of day, like I said.
Yeah.
So I kind of get in the sense of like travel wise, especially like friends wise. Because I mean, you think Carrie's gonna get on the subway for 45 minutes?
Oh, they routinely tell her that in this episode, but like the way they're living is ridiculous, as Steve points out, because she Miranda gets up and like crashes into stuff, and it's they can't live like that.
No,
if nothing else, they need to move to at least a bigger space in Manhattan. But
that's the thing too.
I think they're looking to buy. Well, she owns that apartment, but they're looking to buy. For like the whole family.
Yes, and that's the thing too. It's like that's why when he suggests Brooklyn, it's like you kind of have to get out of Manhattan, unless you got like money to buy a brownstone. Which I don't think. I mean, I know Miranda's pretty successful, but I don't think she's brownstone successful.
Not quite. I mean? No.
Yeah.
No.
And yeah, I mean, and also too, trying to find an apartment that's big enough in Manhattan. Manhattan is cramped, man.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky. Like the fact that she even had a 2-bedroom, if it was, is pretty lucky. Now you're trying to look for a 3-bedroom apartment. Good luck.
Yeah. Because like, to be clear, people live there, raise kids there, it's fine. But like for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And like Miranda tells Carrie, and she's like almost more shocked than when they're talking about Samantha being sick, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But they go and visit the house, and it like I don't know why it looks so like busted when they are there. I guess it's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, they didn't say that.
There's like there's not just exposed brick. There's like exposed like wall slats. Like
there's like literally holes in walls where like the drywall was broken and shit like that. It's pretty. It's not like completely dilapidated, but it's not looking good.
It's looking rough. And
so like, there's definitely gonna be more money invested in it than like probably it's worth. As far as like fixing it up and things.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But Steve has, plans. He's like, we can knock down this wall in the dining room, and we won't have to sleep in the dining room, because apparently they were doing that. And Miranda's like, no, the fire, nice fireplace. Yeah, none of our friends are gonna visit. And she's like, just being a bitch again. Sorry, I'm not supposed to call her that, but like she just kind of sucks these past few episodes really bad. The honeymoon, and all that other stuff. I'm like, if I were Steve, I'd be like, I'm taking the baby and I'm leaving.
Well, God, the thing is, and it seems to be because this whole episode's theme was kind of, I guess, denial was the theme of this whole episode. But here's the thing: she's like kind of been in denial about her whole situation. Like she's like been in denial about being a mom. Now she's in denial. Then she was in denial about being like a wife, and now she's like in denial about them building a family. It's like this is a family now. Like you have this is the point where you're not gonna get to flute around Manhattan anymore with your girls. Like you gotta, for lack of better words, grow up.
And like Steve kind of calls her on that. He's like, because he says what you're saying. He's like, this isn't just about you anymore. The baby's growing. They got the pets. They got the two of them.
Right.
They're a family.
Yeah.
And it kind of finally dawns on her in that moment that she's married with a family.
Yeah. Like, she takes it like a champ though. She doesn't like have a face. She's just like, damn, I am married. Oh shit.
She's like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it kind of helps. Like Steve takes Brady and the dog outside to just, help them get out some energy in the backyard.
Yeah.
Since they're obviously, real estate hunting, and that can't be exciting for a baby or a dog.
The thing about it is that this is like has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I just need to see Steve be more like this more regularly. Like, like stand up and like put your foot down from time to time, because it's just gonna make your marriage a lot happier. And I know he's not gonna do that because he pretty much kind of lets her rule the whole thing. But if he did that, like, I don't know, 30% more, he'd probably be a happier man.
Yeah. So she watches them play outside and like kind of ponders the possibilities of the building, a house, I'm not quite sure what to call it. And she like accepts that, like, yes, this would be the best thing for her family. They want the space, and the yard space is always nice. And so then she of course starts to negotiate with the whoever's selling it, she's like, I want this, I want a long escrow. If the furnace isn't up to code, I want a new one. Da 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 da.
Yeah, I mean, put them lawyer skills to use. She's
Yeah,
like, all right,
this
is where I gotta live.
Your time to shine right here, Missy. Get to work.
Yeah.
And so then they have like they're out for like drinks. And she tells, it seems like it's almost like a going away like get together.
Almost,
for her. Because they all joke, of course, about like, you'll all visit me in Brooklyn, right? And Carrie obviously says no. Charlotte's like, of course. And Samantha's like, no, I have cancer. Hilarious. Hilarious. We'll get to that. I never used it the way I should have to get it. No, it's terrible about
even
it.
After when it was all gone, dude. Oh my god,
I'm so bad about
it. You had at least. I mean, of course, while you had it, of course, you had all the liberty in the world, but at least you had at least a good 4 to 6 months of being like, I had cancer, help me out. You know what I mean? Like you could have. Oh man, you had the. That's like one of the ultimate cards to throw down on the table. Nobody can really fuck with you on that. It's like, fuck. Cancer's one of the worst.
I would ask for like the most minor things, and then I would jokingly say, "You have to. I'm sick." That's about all I do.
Nah, man, you had so much potential.
I know I didn't milk it at all.
Listen, here's the thing. Kudos to you for not taking advantage. Yeah, sure. You are a better person for not doing it. However, you could have had so.
Oh well.
Oh man, so I mean, you probably could have got a house. Give me your house. I had cancer.
I'm sick.
Give me all the food in your fridge. I have cancer.
I mean, I was gonna say just about the only thing I used it on was like choosing the takeout place with my mom. Because it'd be like, and it'd be the most minor debate. It'd be like, well, I think I want to order from here. And she'd be like, I guess I'd be like, you'd have to. I'm sick.
Well, you used it a little.
I used it a little
bit.
Not on anything important.
Yeah. So I've been like, hey, give me your car. I have cancer.
Yeah.
Car's mine. Sign it over to me now.
Money.
Send me money. I have cancer.
So they all reminisce about like shitty apartments in this final scene, and Miranda's like, what? Why did I think living in Manhattan is so fantastic? And Carrie's like, it is. And they just kind of, it's the, they're all gonna stay friends, of course.
Yeah.
It's the point of the scene, but like just sort of acknowledging that things are finally changing. Now I have a question. Yeah. Do you have friends here in LA that live not like, or just any part of town that's not like really convenient to you? Like, do you have friends on like the West Side, or I have friends out in like Simi Valley and stuff now? And
I got friends that live in like East LA, like Whittier and shit like that. It's like I want to see y'all, but like I ain't about to drive an hour and a half.
Yeah,
without traffic. That's an hour and a half, like without traffic. You know what I'm saying? Like with traffic, I mean, we're talking about hour 45, maybe 2 hours. I'm like, I love you. Like because last time I haven't seen them. I mean, I haven't seen him but like 2 or 3 times since I've been in LA. And every time it's for like big events. It's like, like the last time I was out there, he was getting married. So I was like, all right, I'll come in, come to your wedding and shit like that. But just like plain Jane hanging out, we got to find like a halfway point or something.
I have my aunt and uncle who I'm super close with that live out here, but they live down by the airport. Right. And it's like a 30-minute drive from where I live in the valley.
Yeah. If you're lucky.
If I'm lucky. If it's not too, if I don't get a random
If it's
traffic.
like 2 a.m., then it's 30 minutes.
Flying at 2 a.m.
Flying, yeah. But any other time, if it's like a 4 p.m. type thing.
Oh, God.
That's at least an hour 15, hour 20.
So, and then I have like the friends that live out in like Simi Valley, which is not technically that far from here, but it's far enough. That's another like 20, 30 minutes that away. But that's a case where they bought a house, but they have twins, they have a dog, they have the two. They think her mom lives with them and stuff. Now it's it's a lot going on, and it ain't happen. They had a nice like 2-bedroom like 2-story apartment. Yeah. But babies grow. That's one thing I do not understand. I've always been haunted by one of those tiny house episodes of like something or other on HGTV I was watching,
Mm-hmm.
or just these tiny homes in general where people are like, we had a baby and we have this perfect little nook for the baby. I'm like, cool. Does that
Yeah.
nook expand with the
Right.
baby?
Yeah.
Because the baby grows, you know that, right?
Right. Yeah.
There
Hopefully, I
was,
mean, hopefully, unless it,
yeah,
unless some kind of weird disease or something happens.
Benjamin
But
Button issue or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, because this one episode I didn't watch a ton of these, but I just sat through one. And this family, the renovation show came in and built them this like almost like folding tiny house. Like I think you can fold it up in half, but anyway, so they basically made like one section with like a living room, a room for the parents, and like the kitchen and stuff, and the one bathroom, and then the other half had like a lofted bedroom for their teenage boy, which my first thought was, where's that kid gonna jerk it? Because that's just not fair. Because they lived out, I was like, I guess he's just gotta go out in the woods all the time. And they could be like, where's Derek? I don't know. And he's just in the middle jerking off in the woods because he's a teenage
honestly,
boy.
That's not terrible. Be hell, every parent or every.
No, I know
person,
I'd be a good parent. Be like,
well, no.
You need your privacy to jerk it.
It's just like that was. I mean, that's like the stories I heard from anybody that grew up in the '80s. Like we used to go out into the woods with magazines. I'm like,
yeah.
Why is everybody in the woods? Why did everybody go into the woods when they grew up? What was the
tiny houses, I guess,
yeah.
but not these stupid tiny houses.
Right.
But then they also had 3 younger daughters that were like in like the 6 to 10 range, and they built this like convoluted little cubby bedroom system for them, and they're like the littlest one like basically like sleeps under like the stairs of the other 2, and I was like, what do you do when they all grow? They're gonna grow like at least a foot, you hope, to be somewhere in the 5-foot range, and relative, within the next few years.
Yeah. And they're going to be and for that they're going to be an inconvenience size by the time like they're like 12 or 13. So that means you still got 6 to 8 more years of them growing, like being in that space. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that always blows my mind. Like it's not that you can't raise kids in like tiny circumstances. People have done it for years and whatnot. But like kids should be entitled to some privacy and a little bit of space. Like I mean, I guess you could argue on the flip side they'll be super close, because actually there's this show I liked on PBS that would do different like historical eras of the families would go like live and work like it was the historical era, but the most infamous one was this like Texas ranch house one. So it's like the 1800s Texas ranch house. The family was lazy as fuck. It was so lazy they ran out of food, and the producers had to go, well, you guys have like a garden next to the house. They did not tend the garden the entire time, so everything had like rotted on the vine, and they had to have like an expert come out and help them like redo everything. And they were like dudes who were the cattle ranchers, and like they were having a good time and like enjoying being cattle ranch guys. But like the family back at the house were just like so lame. But until they kind of got the teen daughters finally kind of got in the spirit of it a little more. Like the parents were awful, but like they kind of got it. And then they showed them back like in the present time, and they lived in like a huge ass McMansion. And it was just one of those like oversized house. You never heard McMansion?
No.
Oh, that's what they call.
Has this sound like someone that's sponsored by McDonald's? Oh, we got you in the McMansion. Like it feels like what like cribs with Ronald McDonald. Hey,
no, but it's like
McMansion.
It's those giant like middle class or upper middle class or rich people like homes. They all look the same though, and they're all kind of bland and boring. And so like the daughters actually they had rooms that were like super far apart back at their giant house, which like the parents were like, oh, we're so glad, but they kind of missed each other being that close, and they wanted to like share a room, I think, by the end of things. Like they still wanted their privacy and space, but like they missed the closeness that they ended up getting out of the show, like going back to the modern world. And so that was almost kind of sad, like that they got to see like, oh, we could be closer without sort of these excessive trappings going on. So I think there's like a middle ground between McMansion and tiny house.
McMansion that's fucking me.
I can't believe you've never heard those.
No, I've never. No, that's what I'm saying.
It's like such a slap about suburbia and stuff like that. Suburban sprawl, and it's just these like. They're part of what led to the 2008, housing recession. It was these giant overbuilt houses, people paying for too much house that they couldn't really afford. But you were told like, oh, you need space, you need this giant, bigger house. And, so you get these like 2-3 story cookie cutter houses. People get loans for them that they can't afford. And then you have too much house for what you become like house poor, it's called. And they're ugly and bad architecture.
That's a weird. I mean, I feel like that's not something that happens in other countries. I feel like that's something specific to America.
I feel like it's
being house poor.
American.
Yeah.
Although I just caught a summary of like a British show on TikTok, which I want to watch the full episode now, of a mega rich guy who wanted to build this house like on the cliff somewhere in England, and just went into monumental debt to do it. His marriage fell apart and he got divorced. The kids don't talk to him. And even if he sells it now, he like will not make money back. It's like Greek tragedy levels of hubris this guy had. But it's sort of like your comeuppance, because it was one of those things where he's like, well, I have money, I can do what I want. And people, I think they're like engineers and whatnot telling him like, no, it's not really going to work on the cliffside. You're literally trying to build this on like a windswept cliff. Like, where at best you should build like a tiny hut for your sheep and yourself.
Right.
But he's like, I want a glass like monument to my ego.
That's what happens if you think money makes you invincible. Then that's what happens.
Do you think money makes you smart?
Yeah.
Hi. I can't join the conversation. I rubbed his face all over the mic. Yes, you did. How you doing, buddy? So who do you want? Do you want to talk? You want me to pick again for who we talk about next?
Yes.
All right, I will go with Charlotte.
Yay!
Oh, poor Charlotte.
Yeah.
This is again just sad because it's just it feels unfair.
Because
it's real.
It's such a. Here's the thing about it that kind of what I do like about the show. It's like, of all the people who don't want a baby, had a baby, right? Like Miranda never saw that in her future as like being the wife and the mother and all this other stuff, and she's getting everything. And poor Charlotte has to like literally watch this person who doesn't even appreciate it have it, and like low-key hate it, while she's just like, that's everything that I've ever wanted, and you're like, if you could get rid of it, you would tomorrow. Like, it's crazy. It's so sad to have to watch somebody like her go through that.
Like, if Miranda got one of those like, magical opportunities where like you can travel back in time and undo, change your timeline, or a Doctor Who nonsense, whatever you want, whatever your fantasy of choices.
Sure.
she would be like, oh hell yeah, fuck yeah, take me back to that point, pull that sperm back from the egg. And never again.
Heartbeat. She wouldn't even hesitate. She wouldn't even take a second to think about it. The only thing that might make her hesitate is like maybe seeing Charlotte's face sad that she's about to get into the time machine and change it all. You know what I mean? But other than that, come on.
Because when we catch up with Charlotte in more detail in this episode, she is making breakfast on a Saturday with Harry, and it's eggs no less. I thought that was so mean of them to do visually, because when she gets a call from their doctor to tell her that her eggs aren't viable. It's so mean. It's just so mean.
It's not funny. It really is mean, but it's so fucked up that it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's so mean, it's funny.
It's so mean. She's like literally frying an egg while the doctor calls her and is like, hey, your eggs are
Speaking of fried eggs, Charlotte.
What you making? Oh, fried eggs? Guess what else is fried?
Glad I caught you.
Guess who else's eggs is fried? Yours. Just thought And also, too, don't call me on a Saturday. You wait till Monday to tell me that shit. How dare you? That is
I know the
Monday
doctor
news.
calls her on a Saturday, but I guess the doctor was like, I gotta tell her now.
I mean,
Unless
Charlotte probably told her, like, I don't care what day
anytime.
it is.
Yeah.
As soon as the results are in, you come and tell me. So,
Yeah.
to be fair,
And it could also impact like the timing of what they choose to do next, because Harry's like,
yeah,
okay, well, what do you want to do? And she wants to try like egg retrieval again.
yeah,
And she goes out for a run to kind of distract herself, and she's the voiceover from Carrie is like, Charlotte, earned, got elected, class president and
yeah,
top of her class, and she's capable of all these things, and she's so used to winning basically, and being capable, and it's like this is the one thing she can't do that she wants to do the most, and it is
yeah.
painful. It hurts.
It's wild too because, like, Charlotte, of all the women on the show, too, man, she's like the most healthiest. Like, she, works out the most.
Mm-hmm.
She like probably eats the best, and she hardly ever really drinks and stuff like that. And she probably gets good sleep. Like, she, I mean, like, she's doing all the things
Yeah.
that say this is supposed to help, and she still can't get it. And it sucks because, like,
That's also the cruelest part. I guess
yeah,
that's just, you know, the last episode where Samantha felt attacked about not having children, and being told that that's a statistical probability of what could have caused her cancer. It's not the reason she got it by any
right,
means, but it's just statistically, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, that's the hard part, is like statistically, Charlotte should be able to have a kid, right? Like, she's a
yeah,
healthy, still relatively young woman. Especially, she'd almost be more capable of having one now, because they used to be like 35 is the cutoff, and now I feel like
right,
it's more like closer to 40.
probably
But
40, yeah,
yeah, and that's what sucks. That's the hardest part, is like she's done everything right, and still it goes wrong, and
yeah,
that's life, as I say. But that's like, yeah, well, that blows still. Like, you can
yeah,
acknowledge the reality
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
not be like, again, as we said, the whole episode is about denial. You can be in not denial about it and still be mad. I was still,
yeah.
did I, other than being overweight, that's my greatest health sin,
Mhm.
and then I still got cancer. That fucking blows. That's not fair,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying with Charlotte, and of course too, because she wanted to, and it's like, man, if she did have a child, that child would want for nothing. It would be taken
Mm-hmm.
care of. Well, like, what I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
talk about a kid who would grow up the happiest kid that in Manhattan, but like she can't have it.
Yeah.
Sucks. It sucks.
So she does a lot of running to kind of like distract herself in this episode. So
Yeah.
one of the runs she goes on, though, a cute little dog in a Burberry coat comes up to her, and that little dog is a King Charles Spaniel, and her name is Princess Dandy Ridge Brandywine.
Too much.
Which
That's
is
very much a show dog name.
it's a show dog
Very
name.
much a show. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. If somebody told me that, I'm like, oh, what shows have they competed in? Like, that's
Yeah.
immediately, I'm going for that, because that's the only reason why you would name a dog such a pretentiously long name.
Yeah, and she meets the owner. It's this older lady, Trudy, who's got a bunch of other dogs with her too, and she's like, yeah, well, she used to compete. She's a two-time loser because she has a defect. One of her little hind legs is just a little shorter than the other, I guess.
Yeah.
But Charlotte's totally in love with this little dog. So one of the times she's about to go on a run, she sees Harry at the computer, and he is looking into adoption. He's like, it's just a backup, so they have options so that they're on lists, but she's still kind of hurt and sad by it. And I absolutely don't think he's not doing it to be
No,
mean
no, no.
by
He's
any
just trying to give
stretch.
her. He's just trying to give her
He's
what
just
she
trying to
wants.
help.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
just trying to do. He's just trying to give some kind of I guess, of an olive branch just for them, so they can, at least find some other options. But the thing about it is too, is like, I just wonder why she seems so against it, because when she was with Trey, they almost did adopt. Like, they were this close to
Yeah.
adopt it.
I think it might be a couple of things. I think it's this time, it's the harsher reality of she is not going to be able to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's a
she's
good
being,
point. Yeah.
being told that there's like basically no chance. And like, I know she was kind of being told that with Trey, but they were almost still kind of early in that process. She just was like hyped on getting a baby with him no matter what. And I think she loves Harry more, so I think this almost hurts more.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know,
that's
that
fair.
she can't give him, you know, not that she has to, obviously, but like that she can't give him a baby, that they can't have a baby together because she loves him so much. She wants to do it with him.
That's
probably
true.
more than even Trey.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, because I mean, she put in a lot more work to be with Harry as well, as far as like converting to Judaism and things of that nature. Like, so yeah, that makes sense that she would want to try to keep it in house, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just, you know, I think it feels like the finality of that journey for them. So she goes out on the run, and she even brought a treat for Princess Dandy Ridge Brandywine and meets the owner in the park again. And Charlotte's just so in love with this dog. And the lady is like dismissive, and she's like, yeah, she's not that great. And Charlotte's like, you know, just because someone doesn't perform the way you want them to doesn't mean you should give up on them. And she kind of bursts into tears because it's not really about the dog.
Yeah.
And that's when she kind of confesses that she's been trying to have a baby and basically been told she cannot do it. And the lady just goes, I know, really, I've never cared for kids.
She's like, yeah, she don't care about. I mean, it's almost like she barely even cares about dogs. Like, really,
yeah,
seems to care about is like winning shows, really, not the dogs itself.
But it is.
Wait. Was that the discipline?
I had to pull out the discipline spray bottle because I have because I have a newer job and work from home full time now. I have a monitor and all these other cords and shit, and he will not stop trying to chew on them. And I didn't want to keep snapping my fingers.
Right.
It also doesn't work that well anyway. Right. And so yes, I had to pull out the discipline spray bottle, which my cat from Hell Guy Jackson Galaxy says it's not nice. It's bad to do. It's not good for them.
Yeah.
But when they have a death wish, buddy, and are trying to chew on electrical wiring and cords.
Well, I mean, it seems that right now, just you reaching for it has him like, okay, you know what? I'll stop. I'm wild.
Basically. He's fine. I'm not torturing him or doing anything.
Well, if you're only listening to this, you missed the great show.
You missed the visuals.
It's all right.
But at least crying it out with the lady in the park and the dog is at least cathartic. And you know, Charlotte's kind of able to say it to herself about what's going on. But then it would get a somewhat happy ending because Charlotte gets a special delivery, and it's from the lady, and it's Princess Dandy Ridge Brandywine.
Yes,
because I guess she does not want this loser dog anymore.
Clearly,
and the dog clearly loves Charlotte more than the original owner.
Well, yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't help that the original owner treats the dog like probably shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think like she really doesn't abuse the dog, but like
there's no love and snuggles there.
Yeah,
we need snuggles. So Harry's so happy to see Charlotte happy again. She's like, can we keep her? He's like, anything that makes you smile that way, hell yeah, we're keeping her. And he goes, what's her name? She goes, Princess Dandy Ridge Brandywine. He's like, you have got to change that name.
Immediately.
And then they suggest Elizabeth Taylor in honor of Charlotte's favorite Hollywood star. And so they change Princess Dandy Ridge Brandywine to Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, poor dog's gonna be like, shit, who the fuck is Elizabeth Taylor? Like, he's looking at the mother, they're like, why y'all yelling at me? That's not my name.
In all fairness, like, I didn't originally name my cat, who I just shoot away with the spray bottle. His name is Doc, which is technically short for Doc Martin. That's what my cousin originally named him. She likes Doc Martin shoes or whatever.
I like that though. F word the cat name.
Doc is a great name for him.
It's a great name.
I don't think he knows that's his name anymore because I call him so many other names. He has 800 nicknames. He's Boo Boo. He's Big Baby Boy. Big Handsome might be my favorite because I just think it's really funny. I call him Big Handsome. Snuggle Butt, Snuggle Tea Butt. You know, Big Boy, Babiest of Boys. It goes on and on and on. Like, there's just no end. Bubsy, Bubzilla might be my other favorite. Big Handsome and Bubzilla are my two favorite because he's a big boy.
Well, As long as he comes when you call him,
They
whatever.
don't
What
come.
else?
They don't answer to
True.
names.
That's true.
The
Cats.
don't.
Cats just look at you like me.
So every so often I do say Doc. So I'm like, I gotta keep that in the mix.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get total confusion. He probably, if anything, thinks his name is Boo Boo. That's what I started calling him the longest.
Okay.
Because I just, out of the blue, when I first had him and I would come home from work, I'd open the door and see him. I'd go, "Hello, Boo Boo." Involuntarily. And that's what his nickname is. So
I like it.
And that's what Charlotte's naming her dog is, Elizabeth Taylor.
Taylor.
So whom should we get into next?
That's what she said. You know what? Let's get into Carrie.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
I don't like how I said that. It didn't sound so good coming out of my face. I didn't like it.
So
anyway.
Carrie and Alexander are, speaking of, gallivanting around Manhattan, they're going all over the place to just about every like cool ethnic food spot. Are you even supposed to say ethnic food anymore?
Yeah.
You
You're
can
fine.
say that? Okay.
Yeah. That's what it is.
I just had one of those
good.
like.
You're good. It's what it is. It's ethnic food. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If it's not, someone let me know.
Anything that's not
nicely.
Any kind of food that's not like continental, like U.S. food.
U.S. basic.
It's ethnic food. It's fine. You can say it. Yes.
So
just don't refer to people as ethnic. Just call them what they are. I think you get. Yeah, I think that's where you can get in trouble if you refer to people as
someone
ethnic,
as having like ethnic features.
Right.
That's bad.
Yeah. But as far as if you're describing food, ethnic food is fine. You're good. I think you're good. And if I'm wrong, hey, at least you didn't. You got bad advice from an ethnic person.
Yeah, I got bad advice from a person of color, so it's okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
We're trying. We're all the good among us are trying. I promise. It's okay.
Good times.
So anyway, though, he comes to pick her up at her apartment, and she's all dressed up, and he's like, "We're going to the most exotic place of all, your apartment." Because he's apparently never been inside her apartment this entire time.
Yeah, I just realized. I mean, honestly, as far as what they've shown us, but yeah, when I think about since they've been dating, she's always at his place, or they're out somewhere, and when they get back home, it's always his place. Which, I mean, let's be honest, compared to her place.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that is kind of. But at this point, it's only been what, like 3-4 months or something like that.
Yeah, the last episode, I think, last episode or two, they've been dating. No, last episode was the childbearing one. So
that was like 2 months.
2 months. So I feel like we're into 3 months at the least.
Okay,
maybe 4.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay. Now let me ask you this, because that now makes me think. Would you consider that a red flag if you had been to the person you're dating's house yet?
Yes, he doesn't seem to take it as such, but I don't think he cares.
No, I don't think that it's necessarily a. But
as
one, it would make me feel a little bit like, why you had me at your
yeah. Place? In the broadest sense, it is like, why haven't you invited me over?
Yeah. Now, and to be fair, I'm not going to put it all on Carrie, because it also seems like he's been the one that's like, gallivanting around.
Yeah, like, let's go here, let's go
right.
there.
Yeah, so it's not like he, but she also seems like she hadn't suggested it either.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But she's a bit embarrassed of her apartment because it is technically a studio.
Yeah.
It's a good sized studio, but it's still a studio. Sure. She doesn't, she doesn't really have like a dining room or anything. Because as I've mentioned, I'm hosting movie night soon, and I'm gonna have to move the one coffee table I have like into another part of my apartment to like allow people to sit and watch the movie. Sure. And I don't have a tiny place exactly, but it's still tricky. But also she never uses her kitchen, of course, as they always make a big joke of. So he's like, I've never had to cook risotto in like a frying pan before. I'm surprised she even has like anything to cook with.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, she should be kind of embarrassed. It's like, you're almost 40 years old and you don't have like just like basic cooking things, you know what I mean? Like, because even as a dude, that would be embarrassing. Like I was like, I got more shit in my kitchen than this woman does. Like
I have that one friend who I realized he like they never saw him brown bag it for lunch when we worked together. And then I
yeah,
was like, does he ever cook? And then so I got really curious. So I've never asked him directly, but I think I said offhand something about cooking, and he was like,
yeah.
ugh. And I'm like, yeah, well, no one loves. I mean, people love
I
cooking,
mean, listen,
but like
you ain't even got like
also
a Hello Fresh subscription or something like
something.
that. You know what I mean? Like, give me something. You got to
But
have
also, this
something.
further explains why she's in such dire financial straits all the fucking time. Because takeout is fucking expensive.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so expensive.
That's a great point.
I also guess she just like hardly ever eats apparently. But anyway, she's trying to explain the tiny place away and like, sorry, it's this and that. He's like, no, it's warm and loving. I like that. He likes her hovel. her peasant hovel.
He's trying to be nice, but I know somewhere in the back of his mind, as a sophisticated European, he's like, "This bitch is trash." I know that. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to see past the red flags and he likes her, but like let her fuck up one good time. He's like, "Why am I with this trash ass bitch? She don't even have the fucking a pan to make risotto. What the fuck am I doing with her?"
Eat like the fanciest stuff. Like you like. Yeah, I feel like European attitudes are like, yeah, you may live in a tiny space, but you at least care for it, and not that her place
like,
is
you don't
messy
got, like
or
nice
well,
things.
no, you do. They do have nicer things, but usually have fewer and in like better condition.
No. What I'm saying for her, like she don't even have like nice things. Like it's one thing to live in a small place. Like fine, yeah, we have it, but like at least like make it hospitable.
Yeah, do your best. She even jokes that she has like a giant stack of Vogue magazines like piled in a corner.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was him, I'd be like, "Oh, this is the last time I'm seeing this." I'm that guy. What? I'm that guy. I sure fucking will. I'll fucking judge the shit out of
it. You know what? The giant stack of Vogues might explain why she has a fucking mouse crawl across her counter. No, in all fairness, it's the city.
It's just New York. Yeah, I mean, you can have a really nice place. You're gonna have a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew a girl because there's. Well, I ain't gonna say her name, but there's this.
No names. I
ain't gonna say her name. But there's this girl out there. She had a really nice apartment in Manhattan, but she still had like roaches on the wall. And it was like a nice place too, like a really nice place. So that's just the city. It's so old and just gross, and I mean, it just happens.
My brother lived in New York for a little while, and they had like a pizza box that they just happened to leave, like with his roommate or whatever, and the mice totally got into it. And they had cats. Like the roommate had like a cat or cats, and like the cats did nothing about the mice.
Yeah, because this is the thing. It's like that's just New York. Like you just can't get rid of the pests. Like you can have cats, you can have traps, you can have all that shit. Something's gonna make its way through your walls. It's just you can't. It's
what they do.
Yeah, it's just what it happens in New York. Yeah.
But because also before they see the mouse, the espresso machine is important. I should bring it up.
Yeah.
He's like, well, let's have espresso, and she goes, oh, cool. Where? And he's like, you don't. And she's like, I might have like a Mr. Coffee. You
ain't even got. I mean, here's the thing. Espresso machine, fine. No. Fine. If you don't have an espresso machine, get it. That's kind of a gaudy piece of
big thing.
Yeah, it's it's a lot to have in especially in a small place like that. But like you only got a coffee pot or like a kettle or something to make like. What are we doing here?
Now, this doesn't apply to her. I do not have a coffee maker, but that is because I don't really drink coffee ever.
Neither do I.
I make tea for my caffeine beverage of choice in the morning.
Yeah, I don't have. I have a coffee press. So you still got like heat up water. And
I should get one of those to save.
Yeah, I have that. I have that for people who drink coffee. I don't. I'm like you. I think coffee. The taste of it is disgusting.
Yeah,
personally. So. But I have it for people like I have a coffee maker or the coffee press for people, guests.
Because I one time my brother visited and the best I could do was get him like instant Folgers, and he like I think like the third day of that he was like, I am not one of those don't talk to me before I've had my coffee people, but I do need you to take me to a real coffee before we go whatever we're doing that day. He's like, before we go anywhere, so I can get not Folgers instant coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, understood. So
totally.
And then my best friend visited, and I got her Starbucks instant coffee packets, and I think those were marginally better, but also at a certain point she was like, hey, can we swing through some kind of coffee? I was like, so two different people now have been like, I can't do the instant.
Dude, they said, dude, just get you a coffee press. Yeah. Like the you know what I'm saying? You can buy a really fancy one, or you can buy one that's like 20, 30 bucks. The little
French press things. Yeah.
Yeah. Just get you a French press. You'll be straight. That's all you need.
And you can use it for tea, actually.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because as long as you got a kettle or a teapot or whatever that turn on the hot water, they can make coffee. They can bring their own or whatever.
Yeah.
It's good.
But anyway, so he's like, you call yourself a writer, haha, you don't have an espresso machine. But anyway, they get in the kitchen, that's when the mouse crawls across the counter, and she's freaks out. But then he fucking takes that frying pan and one swing, one hit wonder, baby, he crushes that little fucker.
Yeah, quickness.
So she's like almost horrified that he does it. Like, she's freaked out by the mouse, but she's also like, well, it might have just been passing through to like the nicer apartment next door. And he's like, no, you have one mouse, you have more. Like,
wait. I thought okay, now I gotta go back too, because I also thought, didn't she have, like, shouldn't her apartment be pretty massive? Because I thought right, because when her and Aiden were together,
no, they never finished that like construction. Like, he was gonna break through that wall, that giant metaphor with the teeny tiny hole in it. I think when she bought the place from him, she did not keep that other half of the apartment.
Got it. Yeah, but she couldn't afford it anyway, so she got it.
Barely afford her. Remember, she's in theory paying Charlotte back this whole time.
Charlotte
could probably afford more fucking fertility treatments.
Right.
Carrie paid her back.
She ain't seen a dime of that money that she loaned her. I guarantee. I mean, maybe it's implied, but they ain't brought it up. So I know a person like Carrie. Will. Yeah, I know a person like Carrie too. She ain't gonna bring it up either. Like, if Charlotte don't say nothing, that money just gone. That money's gone. Not that Charlotte it didn't set her back or nothing like that.
But
still should be paying her back.
It's the principle of the thing. But it is, he's not like the biggest dude or anything, but it is pretty manly to just swing that fucking frying pan like Paul Bunyan and crush that mouse. One time I was house sitting at my aunt and uncle's here, and a rat got in their house, and I grabbed a golf club, and my uncle, when I told him that after the fact, because I did not catch it or stop it, I had a dog and a cat helping me out trying to corner it, because everybody was invested in what was happening, all three of us. And it eventually like escaped away or crawled in somewhere, and I never did find it.
As they do.
And so I was relaying all that to my uncle to be like, be on the lookout for a rat in your fucking house. It's like one of those, like, it's like a tree rat that lives up in the palm trees. But I told him I had the golf club, and he was like, were you really gonna crush the rat with that golf club, Elizabeth?
In theory, we all seem like we all think we could do that, but like it takes a lot to smash.
And I was like,
being like that.
No, it was purely like, if it had jumped at me, I would have reacted, but like I was not going to corner it and then club it to death.
Right? Yeah, that's rough business right there.
You know what I was gonna try to do?
Yeah.
I almost succeeded in I put peanut butter in an empty cat food can and put it under a trash can, and then I was just gonna try to trap it under the trash can. And my uncle was like, then what? And I was like, well, couple options. One was to leave it there under something heavy until I figured out another step, or I won't lie, part of me thought you do like you do with a spider if you're going to set it free. And I was going to somehow keep the trash can over the rat, slide like cardboard under it, and then go fling it in the street somehow. And my uncle was like, that would not have worked. And I was like, I'm aware of that. Yeah. Really, just getting it contained was going to be the first step. And then we would have figured out phase 2.
There's only 2 options when it comes to mice, or 3 options. Let it go. Catch it with your bare hands if you're gonna like let it go. or like maybe some kind of contraption, or kill it. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's only three choices. If you're not, and like also too, like try to catch, like unless you have like some kind of mouse catching apparatus that's like specifically for that. Probably gonna be trying to catch it, put it in your hands and like put it out in the.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, so
it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I feel you. I listen. I'm not proud of it, but I probably just go the extermination route. Sorry.
Oh, and I should point out that whole rat incident happened at like midnight, so there was no like I couldn't call anybody. Yeah. There's no like 24-hour like we'll come get the rat for you service. So absolutely bonkers. But anyway, Carrie and Alexander go shopping.
Oh, by the way, he picked up that mouse very casually off the counter too. With like a paper towel. Yeah, he's just like napkins. Like, yep, all right, cool, let's get out of here.
I guess guess it's that Soviet upbringing or something, man. I don't know. Can't do it.
Gangster. He's probably like, shit, we could eat that. Anyway.
So they go to the kitchen store because I guess she buys an espresso machine at some point.
Yeah.
But they're talking about when Carrie and the girls had gone to the chemo center to hang out with Samantha, which I want to totally address separately.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're talking about, she's pretty peppy about Samantha's prognosis. And he's like, oh, I had a friend who had breast cancer and she died. And Carrie's like, don't say that to me.
Yeah, my guy.
I know. I think this is cultural. We'll get into it. So they're at his place again. And they're having like super strong espresso. And she's like, I need to like cut this with some milk or something. And he's like, well, it's not going to be espresso then. Yeah. And she's like, hey, I want to kind of talk to you about maybe not being as sensitive to my feelings about Samantha. And you keep bringing up your friend who died. And she's like, Samantha's going to be fine. And she's annoyed he keeps bringing up like death and the death of his friend. Yeah. And he's like, I'm just trying to get you to kind of be more realistic about the scary, like the worst possible outcome. Yeah. But she keeps cutting. I will say, I don't like that she keeps cutting him off about his friend. Like he clearly he's not just saying my friend died to say my friend died to her. Right. He's trying she won't listen.
He's like trying to say something else, but like she just hears death and immediately just like go fuck yourself. Yeah. Yeah. That's where like it I will concede to the idea that he is kind of being a little bit of an asshole bringing it up because she did ask him not to talk about it. However, he's also not, because he's like, it seems like he's trying to, it's not, he just like you were saying, like he's not just trying to say, oh, my friend died. There's more to the story. It's like my friend died, these are things, but like there's like more to it that he wants to say that maybe could have given her some comfort, but she just didn't want to hear any of it.
Just she hears die or death and boom, it's no go. Yeah. And they get in an argument about it and she leaves in a huff. He's like, you are acting like child. And she's like, well, you're acting like an asshole.
He hit her with a child. I was like, dude,
I know. Calling someone a child is
that's an uppercut. It's an uppercut. Yeah, you're punching me right in the stomach with that one, especially. Woo, I mean, too, especially she was all embarrassed about her apartment. Then you say that because that's still in the back of her. That's still in the back of her mind. Like she's feeling some type of way, especially after being in like an apartment like yours and shit. Like, ooh, that's rough. That's rough business right there.
And she gets home pondering the fight, and it keeps her up all night. Also, she had all that espresso, so that's probably part of the problem. But
probably that shit's strong, bro.
Yeah. So Carrie and Miranda are walking and talking about Samantha's situation in general. I don't want to get into the specific thing they mentioned just because it's the Samantha storyline. But Miranda keeps going, of course she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. And they kind of, and she brings up the Alexander stuff and she doesn't like the pessimism, but then they kind of both start to wonder if maybe they are in a little bit of denial about, what could happen to Samantha.
So I mean, as a person who is a cancer survivor, did you witness anything like that? Where like once your friends like some denial or like they didn't want to like talk about it around you or something like that?
No, people
you talk about it, rather.
No, nobody shut me down. I want to, I think, talk about the Carrie Samantha scene within the context of Samantha's situation, storyline. Okay. But no, I don't, and also this is like a conversation between people who aren't with the cancer patient at the time. So I don't know if like outside of my purview, people were like, I don't know what's gonna fucking happen to Elizabeth, and I'm
Sure.
scared. I know my brother kind of mentioned that, obviously I'm sure my parents, my parents are weird though, and like boomers, and definitely were like, gotta tamp it down. No
Yeah.
feelings come out.
Yeah.
None. Keep that
Stuff
shit
that
to
shit
yourself.
way down in there.
But like my brother did mention, just like, and this is funny. I talked to him on the phone about it, and he was gonna come fly out, and he was talking to my niece and nephew, and he was like, hey, just so you know, Auntie Elizabeth's really, really sick, so I'm gonna go, visit her. And he's kind of explaining the situation softly to them, and then my nephew just like out of the blue was like, did you know I did this at school today? And blah blah blah. And my brother just like was like, okay, all right. They were only like 5. They were still pretty little.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was like, because they were both kind of like, oh, okay, but like a little kid mind moves so fast that, like we're seeing some of that now. I have to say, with my mom having passed, like they are handling it okay, but it comes up randomly, but they it's a weird concept for little kids. It is a weird concept for adults too, to like learn that someone, I won't speak to anyone else's situation, but it's it's weird, and because you want any but there's this thing it can get into, which is toxic positivity that they call it, where it's like, hey, and then no one did this to me really, but it's like, it's like, hey, you're gonna be just fine. You only won't be fine if you don't think you're going to be fine. So like, almost like it's your fault if you feel bad about it. It's like, no, it feels bad. It's not. It's like a bummer.
Yeah.
So
yeah. For sure.
It's definitely it's weird. So they do kind of finally go, maybe we are, and then she gets home and is trying to put together her espresso machine and doing the writing and stuff, and ponders like when you need to live in reality versus using defense mechanisms, and is denial friend or foe? Yeah, and it's like
it can be both. Yeah, it's definitely both. But it's a thin line, I think, into which territory it falls in, because it can be very supportive of that denial, but it can also be very harmful. So
yeah, because you don't want to.
It's like people. It's like, they don't want to seek medical treatment. They're thinking like they can like pray the sickness away. It's like, no, that kind of denial kills people. Sorry, Scientology. Yeah. I said it. Come for me. I said it. I don't need to be in your
Tom Cruise if Tom Cruise gets that Oscar for Top Gun, he just might.
Come for me. I'm ready. Let's go. Illuminati, I'm ready. I got the symbol ready. Anyway.
So later at Carrie's, though, she's in bed and a mouse crawls like into her hair. She like runs out of there screaming. I don't blame her one bit. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's rough. I wouldn't scream, but yeah, that ain't something that you want to wake up and feel a little pity patter.
Oh no.
I've definitely like had, like, not recently, but when I was in the Marines, I definitely had like things crawl over me while I was sleeping, like in a sleeping bag. It ain't a great feeling. It ain't little feet running over your shoulder or something like that. You're like, and you never know too, because like if it was in the desert, it's like, is it a scorpion? Is it a spider? We were in Hawaii. It was like, was it a centipede? Yeah, was it a mouse?
It's nothing like cute that wants to cuddle you ever. No,
definitely wasn't. No, hell no.
So Alexander comes over though and helps like block up the like hole that I guess the mouse got in, and kind of tries to mouse proof her place for her. And he's like, I didn't think I was gonna hear from you again. And she's like, okay, we gotta talk about this. And she's like, I don't want you to talk just yet. And starts explaining her feelings, that she's like, I keep insisting Samantha's going to be fine because I feel like she has to be. She's my family. That's how important she is. And so it hurts when you kind of say that she might not be. And he's like, I want to explain. And this is where she cuts him off again. And I was like, you can't keep
let him finish.
Let him get it out. He's not like, she's taking it as if he's like wishing death upon Samantha.
Yeah, he's not like saying, I hope the bitch is gone tomorrow. Like he's trying to comfort you in like a guy way comfort. Like, yes, it's practical and it doesn't make you feel very good, but it's still necessary.
A guy way, I think also just a culturally different way, like
Fair.
the way
He is from Russia. He probably seen
Russian,
different things,
more European kind of point of view is more direct sometimes. Where we can be very like everything's fine here in America, and they're like,
no.
we've seen famine, we get it, like it's
Right.
not good.
Yeah.
we
live in reality all the time. We don't get to live in delusion. We're from Russia.
As what not I won't say the majority, but what's being presented here is the very American, like, what are you talking about? Everything's great here all the time. No one ever has any problems in America ever. Oh, except all the
except for 99% of the people that live here.
Yeah. But what's being, the 1% we're seeing on the show are like, what do you mean bad things happen in this country? Anyway, so, and I wrote down that he's a better man than I, because this is after he gets out his explanation, sorry, but he explains, he's like, why I keep saying this is because when my friend did die, I was so surprised and the pain was so great. I don't want you to have that feeling. I'm trying to get you to a point where if it happens, you are a little more prepared for that. And she's like, well, you could have just said that.
Well, to be honest with you, he's actually doing her a big favor, because like my brother passed of cancer. Like that's everything all the months of chemo and everything, doctor's like, don't worry, he's going to be fine. It's going to treat, he's going to he live a long, healthy life. And then 6 months later, he's not living a long, healthy life. And I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, who, I'm like trying to blame people, because I'm like, y'all said he was going to be fine. So why is he not fine? What's going on? And obviously it's not any of their faults. Cancer is just a tricky fucking disease, but still, when you're telling me for months and months and months and months and months, like all the suffering that my brother's going through, he's going to be fine in the end, and then he's not fine. It's like, somebody tell me what the fuck going on. So I get that from him.
Oh, totally. We had I'd say my brother and I were more prepared for our mom's passing than like the doctors were, because like the way we saw her post stroke and everything like that was like, we're like, is she like in a vegetative state? This is bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we're getting her back. And the way they came in, they're like, no, we can send her to acute rehab and she'll do all this stuff for 2 weeks. We're like, you fucking high? Like,
y'all look at the same person we look at it.
Like, are you seeing something on charts or scans that we're not? Like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. But he is, he's doing her a big service, because you don't want to get blindsided by those feelings. You don't want to dwell on it, obviously.
No, of course not.
But you don't, but when that's, we have the same problem with when medical professionals are like, no, they're gonna be fine, and then they're not. That's what blindsides you. And actually, we were so frustrated with that. We looked up like why they do that. It's they're not making guarantees of they'll be fine, but they do that to kind of, in a way, cover their own asses as medical professionals. And there was this it was an article in the New York Times we found about, in this case, it was a guy in a similar situation to us with a parent who had had a stroke and was trying to get like some kind of prognosis out of it. And they would not say anything definitive. We kept hearing the words "anything can happen," which is like now an inside joke for us, because anything can happen. Oh, can it?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So you mean just life?
Great.
Right. Thanks.
Because they don't want to make guarantees one way or the other, so they just stay vague or stay vaguely positive. And then it's your situation. You're 6 months later, you're blindsided. We ended up with hospice, so it drew out, and we weren't quite as blindsided, but still, yes, no one likes death. Death is bad and upsetting and scary, but
don't set people up for disappointment like that. Don't sit there and tell me you're gonna be everything's gonna be okay, and if you don't really know it, just say, hey, look, we're doing our best. I would have taken that, hey, we're doing our best to make sure we're treating him where we're doing him, giving him the best that we can offer. Cool. I'll take that.
Take that over.
I'll take that over anything else. Right. Anything can happen. He's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so he explains some of that, and she's like, well, why didn't you just say that? And this is where I wrote, he's a better man than I for not going, when you cut me off every fucking time.
He's like, bitch, I fucking tried, okay?
Like, I've been trying.
You're too busy having a fucking
week.
fit like a child.
Yeah, like a child.
Like a child.
So they agree to they agree to understand that they have these different approaches to how they talk about these things, which is good. That's some good communication on everybody's part. And he does, and then he finally does say, he's like, I do think your friend will be fine. I do think Samantha will be okay. And she's like, thank you. And I'm sorry to have heard about your friend. And so they kind of they make up, basically.
Yeah.
So on to the friend that they've been talking about the whole time. Samantha.
Yeah. Let's get it.
So the first scene we see Samantha, they're in the chemo center. She's getting her infusions, and they'll have popsicles, which I guess can help with mouth sores. I luckily never ran into that. And all joking around.
I was going to ask if that was like a real thing that they might try to make.
I think it is. I think my friend did it.
Okay.
But let me just tell you something about fucking chemo centers that this drives me crazy in media now. That wow, so annoying. Okay.
Please.
So they're all gathered around, chit-chatting, doing their thing. And I know it's different for everybody. But my experience was it's dead quiet in there, no pun intended, and I didn't wish death upon anybody, but it is quiet as heck.
Yeah.
Because that shit does take it out of you. And I didn't know that. So the first time I went to go, my mom came with me and everything. And I brought my laptop. I was going to get some writing done. I brought, we brought games and puzzles. We brought all sorts of shit to do. There's a TV. Now, not everybody falls asleep, but you kind of might as well. Also, I was given IV Benadryl because I was mildly allergic to one of the things in my chemo cocktail. Thanks. It gave me like a skin rash the first time I did it in hospital. So we knew I needed IV Benadryl. I don't know how regular Benadryl is street legal, because the IV Benadryl knocked me the fuck out. They're like, here you go. And I was hanging out with my mom, and I was like, I'm pretty tired. She's like, okay, we'll go to sleep. 2 fucking hours later, I'm like, ugh. It's like, where am I?
Damn, that's strong.
It was so fucking strong. And, then I still had like another hour to go, but I was like, that's why I was like starting to wake up and like go to the bathroom and like have a little snack. And by the time I like kind of do all that and they finish all their stuff, everything's over, because I had to be there for like 4 hours. So this like everybody hanging out partying in like the chemo center that they constantly show in TV and movies is so fucking not real. I think maybe other people do it, but let me tell you, it's also rude as fuck to anybody.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, it probably doesn't happen, because honestly, I think I would, if I'm in there doing my chemo and like somebody's in there with their family, it's like I ain't gonna say nothing, but it'd probably be a little bit of noise watching him like laugh and joke around and
you're side-eyeing people. You're like,
yeah. It's like, dude, if you don't get up,
because also it's kind of private. It's a private thing. It's it's not just that it's medical. It's just like the whole process is private.
Right.
Like I don't. Obviously, if you're visiting, like, everybody in there is getting treated for cancer, but at the same time, it's like, you're a stranger. I don't need you to know that.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah, I get that.
And there's even debate about, like, what I've just seen within, like, a cancer patient community on, like, online and stuff. So for some people, they have a bell that you can ring when you finish your chemo treatments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So some people ring it. I didn't, for a couple of reasons. One, did not want that level of attention. Mm-hmm. 2, I still had to do radiation, so I was like, I'm not done. Like, I don't feel like I'm done. I don't want to prematurely ring a bell or anything like that. And so some people are like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Like, everybody should like congratulate you. There's the flip side though, of people who are like, it's loud and annoying and rough, if you're there and maybe you don't have as good a prognosis, it's kind of annoying and upsetting maybe a little to see somebody like, I'm free.
Yeah.
Like,
or if it's like somebody's first
fucking,
day there doing chemo, it's like, go fuck yourself, okay?
Like, in theory, it should be like inspiring because, like, hey, they made it through, you can too. But like,
sure.
I don't know.
But
go ring a bell at home.
Right.
I told somebody I didn't ring it. They're like, do you want? I was like, I absolutely do not want to ring a fucking bell for this.
I feel that.
We'll get into more about my overall feelings in a minute because it does kind of tie into some of what Samantha's
you're good.
Going on. So Samantha, she's joking like, yeah, cancer's hilarious because they're having such a good time, huh? But she does mention she's going to go to Smith's big movie premiere.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to make a mention because she was like messing with Miranda about how she was eating her popsicle. She's like, oh, look at Miranda working that popsicle. Steve must be a lucky guy. I was like, that bitch ain't giving Steve head. What the fuck you talking about? He ain't getting no head like that. Robert probably got head like that, but damn sure Steve didn't get no head like that.
She barely tolerates Steve. She's not giving him a beach.
He ain't getting no head. That popsicle was the only thing she probably had in her mouth that was phallic, and since they've been married, fuck you saying.
She won't even eat a banana in front of him.
Fuck you saying, for real. For real though. For real.
But speaking of BJs, later Samantha is giving Smith one, and he's holding her hair. And some of it just falls out. He's like, well, first he's freaked out. He's worried he like yanked it out, which is so sweet of him to be concerned. But he's like, did that hurt? And she's like, no, because it doesn't hurt when it falls out.
Let me tell you something. Just in case there's any guy out there, if you rip a girl's head out, she's gonna let you know if it hurts. Okay? There's no way she didn't feel it. Okay, there's no way she's so caught up in the moment of like going down on you or the sex that you're all having that she ain't gonna feel her hair being ripped out.
Ripped out of her by the root. Like, come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a big chunk. He had a handful of hair. If it hurt, she probably would have bit down on his dick. What are you saying? Anyway.
But it kills the mood because she's like, no, it's fine. I've just, it's been falling out or whatever. Yeah. And it was like a boner immediately drops, and she's kind of offended by that. But I'm like, I think it's just awkward for everybody. Like,
listen, I mean, it would be even more weird if he was still like more turned on. If he was like harder, what would you say? You know what I mean?
If he had kept the erection, it would have been worse.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Sorry, let me tell you something. If I'm grabbing you by the hair and some of it comes out, it's gone. It's bye. Okay?
Yeah.
We're done here. We're taking you to the hospital. You're sick.
Also, conversely, if you are going down on me and I'm holding your hair and some of your hair comes out in my hand, I'm gonna like kick your shoulder and be like, what the fuck's happening?
It's over. This moment is done. This moment's done. Now we have to focus on this.
This goes across all gender lines. No one wants to be holding hair that's attached to a head that is suddenly not attached to a head anymore. Right.
And let me tell you, and that goes with weaves too. You better tell me you got a weave. If I pull your shit out, if you got a fucking extensions in or some shit like that, you have to fucking tell me. Because I pull the shit out, I'm gonna be mad at you. I'm gonna be fucking mad at you.
Our one host on the show I used to work on, she had extensions, and occasionally like one would come loose, and she would just hand it to my executive producer all the time. And he's like, why is she giving me this? Like, I'm set.
Yeah, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, I was like, what are we gonna do with this? And like, she had, like expensive rich lady extensions. So it's like, what do we do with it? Do we throw it out? Do you keep it? Do you give it back to her? We didn't know what to do.
I don't know, but don't put it in my fucking hand.
Yeah, I don't want to touch it. So Samantha and Carrie go wig shopping. And she is, I have to say, Samantha picked not the nicest wig shop. I'm surprised at the location she chose to go wig shopping.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like, she was like talking about like, buying like the nicest wigs and stuff like that, and it just looked like just any old Manhattan wig shop. Like, it didn't look like a nice, like a Barney's of wig shop.
Yeah, because they were like, they said they had like human hair options, but I'm sure budget wise they didn't have the option to like have a bunch on hand, but like none of the ones the guy offered her looked like human hair by any means.
Nah, super synthetic all around.
So synthetic, and and she's frustrated because she's like, I just want to look like myself, and the guy's like, none of these wigs are gonna make you look like that, and she disagrees. And I'm sorry, she's right, because maybe this is like borderline 20 years ago now, so maybe wig technology wasn't great.
It's way better now.
At the time, but wig
yeah.
technology now is insane.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
now I never
you can't tell at all.
Cannot tell sometimes. Like our other host is a black woman, and she had wigs she used all the time, and I didn't realize they were wigs until like honestly like 6 months into production. I was like I think I saw
good,
her
man.
without the wig before the wig install, and I was like, oh, I thought that was I full on thought she just had whatever hairstyle she had the whole time. I was like, I'm dumb.
Sometimes, I mean, you never know, because there are are women, black women that grow their hair out, been growing their entire lives, and they can do a bunch of multiple styles and things of that nature. But these, like you said, then the wigs are just getting so like they're so good now. It's insane.
Wig technology is out of control.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But I, regardless, did not choose to go for a wig. My friend did, but she also was more. She did more like out and about, like public facing stuff, and wanted one more. And as much as I fucking hated losing my hair and shaving my head, which we'll get to in a sec, I genuinely like hated that. I was like, I don't feel like bothering with a wig either. Like, I just gotta do what I gotta do.
Well, also too, I mean,
also didn't have the money for a wig.
You might as well say, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, man, wigs are expensive. Like, I know people that like, spend 500 plus on wigs. Now, some people, I know that have spent like 1,000 or more on a wig.
Yeah.
Power to you. Ain't no way I'm gonna tell myself you can swipe my card $1,000 for a goddamn piece of hair. No.
So after the wig shopping fails, Samantha and Carrie go to lunch, and Samantha's, like, this is, I think, a very common, I know I felt this way. It's frustrating to lose your hair because it's obviously the aesthetic stuff, and it just makes you look like a sick person. Everybody is like, you don't have hair, and I know there are like more people now who are doing like buzz cuts and stuff like that, either women or non-binary folks and stuff like that. And so it is like now slowly sort of like that's not maybe your first assumption if you see a buzz head, but like at the same time they have cool like buzz cuts, and it's different.
Definitely.
And Carrie's like, yeah, but this is just a blip of bad luck, which is that toxic positivity I mentioned earlier.
Right.
That's the other problem is not listening to the person going through whatever it is. Because Samantha's like, please, you got to let me talk about what I'm like afraid of and freaked out about. And Carrie, to her credit, finally goes, yeah, go ahead. Go off. Tell me how you're feeling. That's the right thing to do. It's it's the toxic positivity when the cancer patient or the sick or whatever the situation is like, I'm really upset, or I feel bad about this, or I feel bad about any of the things, and then you go, no, but you're gonna be fine. None of that matters.
Yeah, because when you say things like that too, you're also being selfish because you don't want to deal with your feelings about the matter. So you're just trying to like shove them off, being like, no, don't think like that. Don't think like that. Don't say that. You're fine. Yeah.
So Samantha's like, I think I have to shave my hair off. So she gets home and she starts to buzz it herself, which power to her. I could never.
Yeah. Sorry, Kim Cattrall. You don't have the head for a buzzed head. Like, you don't have the head shape for it to pull it off.
Just the wherewithal to shave your own head in that scenario. I could never.
You didn't shave your head?
I did not do it myself. I went to my hair salon and had them do it for me.
Gotcha.
Which was also traumatic.
Yeah.
It was also deeply upsetting.
Yeah.
And I went with my mom. Now this is funny though. So I went and we were like, well, it won't take that long, obviously, because they're just gonna get rid of it all. And I was like, yeah, we can go do stuff we were gonna go like the bookstore or something like that. But then I was getting so upset and so like miserable that when we finished, I was like, she's like, yeah, we're just coming home. I'm like, bless that we thought we were going to do anything. She's like, yeah, absolutely, we're just leaving, don't worry. But that day we had ordered the takeout for the day, but that later that day I'm home. I'm laying on the bed, and I'm like, I hate everything. I had to shave my fucking head. This fucking blows. I'm so upset.
Yeah.
That's when I got the call that I was still hired at the show I worked on up until sort of recently. So it was like, woo, we're turning around. What a day. Big low, big high. Life really is peaks and valleys, baby.
Hell yeah.
Ugh. But then my friend who had the cancer stuff, she did like a buzz party thing and was more on social media with it. Again, she does just generally more public facing stuff and was more comfortable doing that. I say comfortable loosely because I know it was still rough to do.
Yeah.
My dad asked me, he's like, "Are you going to post a picture of your like shaved head on, online?" I was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Why would he even ask you that?
Why would you ask me
Why would he
that?
even think that you would want to do that?
I was like, I'm trying to hide till we get it back down to my fucking ankles, man. Like, I'm not gonna do any of that.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and I know some people do like have the strength to buzz it off themselves, and man, again, more power to you. If I didn't think like my head was getting gross and just probably needed to get shaved, I would have just was like, I guess I'll just keep letting it fall out till it all falls out. Sure. Or it got closer to being balder. Maybe I shaved it too soon for my level of trauma. I don't know, but we'll never know.
Anyway. I think whenever you felt the need to shave it is when that's the perfect time. That's
the right time.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that was the right time.
Smith comes home because he got her message saying she's not going to go to the premiere now, and he catches her shaving her head, and she's like, I don't think you can handle this or deal with this situation, because they argue about like him freaking out about the like, the hair and the blowjob, and he's like, well, yeah, shit happens though. Like,
yeah, it's like, yeah, don't take it as if like I'm freaking out about this whole thing. It's like, that scared me a little bit. Like it would any normal person.
Yeah, as we said, any amount of hair that comes out of in anyone's hand in any sexual scenario, no matter what you're doing.
Like, is that weird? Do you really want that to be his new kink? You losing your hair while you're blowing him? Yeah, that ain't the kink. That ain't the kink you want.
But he says, "Let me be there for you," and she's like, "You can't relate to what I'm going through." And that's when he picks up the clippers and starts to buzz his hair off because he's got this long, blonde kind of thick hair, and she's like, "You can't do that. That's your hair's your thing." And he's like, "Whatever." And when I'm done doing this, I'm doing your head too. And that this shoots Smith so far up in the boyfriend rankings all the time. It's really sweet.
I'm still mad because like
I know the Richard thing.
Yeah, man. It's like he doesn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. Anyway.
But I guess you could chalk up
no excuse.
No. I'm just saying that he's young and like still learning.
No. I'm talking about what she did to him. Yeah. So he didn't deserve that. Like even if he was, young or like whatever, like you didn't think that y'all had anything, like he didn't deserve that. No. You can get at least broke it off with and then when I had sex with him.
Yeah. But this is again.
I mean, I guess technically she did that, but still.
Yeah. But this is a rock solid move from him. Regardless of the Richard situation.
Yeah.
So they do go out to the premiere, and he's got the new buzzed look, which everyone, of course, I can only imagine the headlines in that universe that
I bet
I would have had to.
But he pulled it off. I thought he looked pretty good.
Great.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good with the bald head.
I don't.
A little bit better, huh? A little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better. Yeah, he's more like handsome.
A little too surfery.
Yeah.
With the longer hair, and it actually made him look like too young.
Yeah.
This makes him look a little slicker, almost like a Brad Pitt kind of thing. Like
he looks more
and I don't
manly,
even like
not boyish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's rocking it, and she comes out of the limo with him in a pink wig.
Which she was pulling off. I give you that too, with her outfit and everything.
Because they talk about her accepting that she'll never be exactly who she is again, which she talks about in the lunch scene. The whole like just how much that's going to change her, and I definitely had that freak out too because I was like, I don't want it to like impact my life. I mean, obviously it's going to impact my life, but I don't want it to like change who I am, and I don't think it did in like a personality sense where now I'm like, I'm more grateful for things, or and I'm not knocking that. I'm not trying to knock other people's epiphanies or whatever, but I have what I can only describe as a very like Irish / semi-Catholic guilt take about it, which is I'm like, well, just gotta keep plowing ahead. That was a bit of a bump in the road, wasn't it? All right, let's keep going. Someone's got to dig these potatoes out of the ground. I guess it's gotta be me. My brother teased me because I was at a light the night ceremony with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and I get to be in the little like survivor ring. I get like a special lantern and stuff. But then like people get up there and they're sharing stories, and I'm like, oh, they had it like way worse. I shouldn't be in this. I should not be in this. I should bow out. And my brother was like, we weren't even raised Catholic. How can you have that much Catholic guilt about this, Elizabeth?
It's just in the bones.
It's in bones. It's in my DNA. Bones.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, and there's been some other. Oh, I think I've said the quote before that I heard from Dennis Leary, which is like, pessimistic optimism. I think it's you look forward to getting over the worst.
Yeah.
That's basically how I handle it.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, that's a pain in the ass. Just gotta keep going though.
Shit, I can't imagine, honestly.
But that's why I have been to therapy now though too, because it's not a bad way to be, but it's probably not the healthiest way to be.
Sure.
So I have gone to therapy, and now I have my big trip planned for the summer. So looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
To my homeland, where I'm going to visit the graves of Stantons before me. We're still kicking around in beautiful Termagheedy, County Mayo.
Nice.
But anyway, that's the episode, and that's our episode.
What?
So you can find us, the show, most easily on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, all lowercase, and they'll take you to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, where you should remember to like, subscribe, leave comments, get the subscription bell thing going. That'll notify you when new things are coming out.
Yes,
because we post every Monday without fail, although almost fail because I almost forgot to.
Whoopsie.
And Chris, where can they find you?
You can find me on all the social media at Christopher T. Mack on all social media.
And as always, we have Arlo Australia candles on offer. Promo code Show Me Miss. All caps. Save some cashola. I don't have a holiday to peg it to. Just buy yourself or loved one some candles and enjoy.
Yeah. Well, we have
Mardi Gras coming up. It's not.
No, we got the next holiday I believe is St. Patrick's Day.
Beautiful St. Patty's Day.
St.
Patty with 2 D's, not 2 T's. It's different. It matters.
Yes, it
is. So start prepping for St. Patty's Day with a bunch of candles. Then
sure, why not?
Celebrate the feast of a forefather of mine, who I think was technically English. And his saint colors were blue.
It's a good chance.
I mean, he brought
England was doing wild out on that side for a long time.
He's bringing the Catholicism to the pagans on the island. But it's so funny because like so much of like Irish Catholic tradition is like still borderline pagan.
That's funny.
But that happens a lot in colonized countries. Blend the. It's a lot in Latin America as well. They're very Catholic, but there's also like the Santeria stuff still too, all blended together.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna go.
I know, sublime. I get it. But anyway, we're rambling here at the end, so we'll let you go, and we'll see you next week.